Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of Soul Land 3, Legend of the Dragon King Part 86. Without any delay, start explanation. 1 vs 1. Wu Sidwa stared at Guu in astonishment. She really wants to duel me one-on-one? Why is she so confident? Isn't she just a support type? One-on-one. Guu nodded. All right, Wu Sidwa coldly answered. For soul rings rose from her feet. She lightly tapped the ground, then her figure became illusory as she dashed straight for Guu. She reached Guu in an instant, black light flashing as she extended her claws and swiped down. Tang Wulin stood away from the battlefield, watching attentively. During their brief alliance, he hadn't gotten a sense of Wu Sidwa's abilities. Now that she released the brunt of her power onto Guu though, he could see just how oppressive her speed and power were. Despite Wu Sidwa's speed, her attack failed. A split second before the claws could tear Guu apart, silver light burst out, and she disappeared. Wu Sidwa's claws slashed through nothing but air. Guu reappeared 10 meters away, her expression as tranquil as ever. 3 soul rings, 2 yellow and 1 purple, revolved around her. They began to glow, then shine brilliantly as her hands moved in the air like fluttering butterflies, teasing the natural elements of the world to do her bidding. With 4 soul rings, Wu Sidwa's elemental perception was keener than most soul masters. She sensed that Guu's entire being was turning into a whirlpool that crazily sucked in the surrounded elemental energy. She even felt a slight tugging on her own soul power. This is. With a snap of Guu's fingers, an icicle coalesced and shot toward Wu Sidwa. This icicle, however, was completely different from a normal icicle. It was tricolored icicle with a blue tip, silver body, and a fiery red base. The red section exploded when it shot out, accelerating the icicle missile to unbelievable speeds and was in front of Wu Sidwa before she could even blink. Even so, Wu Sidwa displayed the power of an assault-type soul master by instantly slashing the icicle with her claw. The icicle exploded into millions of shards, and the air temperature around Wu Sidwa rapidly plummeted. Then, the air around her seemed to distort, tightening around her and hindering her movements. Is that a 3-element icicle? An icicle with the fire element included? Wu Sidwa may be shocked, but Guu was only getting started. Guu summoned another icicle, identical to the last. Like before, it shot forward with lightning speed. It was several times faster than an ordinary icicle due to the explosive power of the fire element, leaving its target no time to react at all. Wu Sidwa managed to slice it apart once more, but that only strengthened the space element constricting her. Although the restraining effect wasn't as powerful as Luo Guixing's spatial lock, it was enough to slow her down. A cold light flashed in Wu Sidwa's eyes. Her 4th soul ring lit up and she split into 2 clones, each heading towards Guu from different angles. Guu began spinning in place. The air stirred. Wind picked up, circling around Guu. More and more strands of wind joined in until a green tornado surrounded her, howling as it quickly grew in size. Soon, Guu was no longer visible. The winds roared their fury as Guu emerged for a moment. White started to drift down from the sky. It increasingly fell faster as she called down more snow, then she disappeared into the resulting snowstorm. The tornado sucked in the snow, quickly merging to become a blizzard. Wu Sidwa stiffened when she came into contact with the extreme cold, but still courageously rushed in to find Guu. Her instincts told her that the longer she stayed in this blizzard, the worse her position would be. Her martial soul is too strange. How many elements does this make now? Yet just when she found Guu and prepared to strike, a wall of earth burst from the ground and blocked her path. Wu Sidwa ferociously attacked the wall, breaking it and sending stones flying. However, Guu was nowhere to be found. The blizzard tornado immediately absorbed the stone fragments as well, becoming a storm of ice and stones. The chaos surrounding Wu Sidwa completely cut off her vision, enveloping her in a whirlwind of death. Tang Wulin stood protectively in front of Xie. He was wary of the aftermath of the tornado, alert for the first signs of danger. Gu had improved her control and could effortlessly wield 3 elements at once. In fact, she could even exploit her opponent's attacks to hasten the fusion of the elements and economize on her soul power. The tornado alone did not possess much destructive power. It was the fusion of multiple elements that made it dangerous. In the eye of the storm, Wu Sidwa could neither see anything around her nor sense Gu's location. Wu Sidwa's first soul ring lit up as she decisively chose a direction and charged. I need to get out of this tornado first. Something this big can't last very long. Hell Rush was her first soul skill. It momentarily doubled her speed while condensing her soul power into an explosive attack in front of her. It was perfect for breaking out of a siege. Furthermore, all of her soul rings were powerful purple ones. Relying on her soul power to protect her body, she braved the assault of the biting cold winds and dashed 50 meters out with Hell Rush. Her vision cleared and the air pressure around her normalized. A smile graced her lips. I made it out. Suddenly, the hairs on the back of her neck stood on end. Light twisted around her and the next thing she knew, she was back in the eye of the storm, the pressure stronger than before. It was as if the storm's eye wall was trying to rip her apart. Tang Wulin stood right in front of where Wu Sidwa had broken out of the tornado, so he clearly saw what happened. Wu Sidwa really had succeeded in rushing out. A second later, however, Gu had teleported behind her and then teleported the both of them away. Tang Wulin chuckled. There was no need to doubt Gu's strength. After all, her martial soul gave her control over 6 elements. Her only weakness was her lack of explosive attack power. Although she could unleash powerful elemental fusion attacks, those required time to prepare. The best strategy to use against Gu is to rush her and instantly decide the battle so that she doesn't have time to prepare any large-scale attacks. The longer the battle is drawn out, the stronger Gu's position is. With her elemental tide and elemental fusion soul skills, as well as her ability to call upon the elemental energy found in the world itself, create a truly terrifying combination. Wu Sidwa's mistake is not knowing the extent of Gu's abilities. If she had known beforehand, she could have immediately used her Hell White Tiger transformation to clinch victory. Not even Gu's teleportation could escape the Hell White Tiger's might. But it's too late. Perhaps Wu Sidwa can put up more of a fight if she transforms into that Hell White Tiger, but Gu has complete control over the battlefield now. Besides, Wu Sidwa's Hell White Tiger consumes too much soul power to be effective here. Now it's a battle of attrition. The outcome of the battle is pretty obvious. In reality, Tang Wulin's conjectures were slightly off. Wu Sidwa simply could not use Hell White Tiger again right now. Hell White Tiger was her powerful self-soul fusion skill. However, the laws of the world were fair. Such a powerful ability naturally came with harsh restrictions. Just like how the power of Shu Yuqing's demon scythe was balanced by the corrosion of his body, Wu Sidwa needed 3 days of rest before she could use Hell White Tiger again. It was impossible for her to use it again right now. Wu Sidwa had thought her soul power recovered enough to defeat Gu, but evidently, that was not the case. In a flash of white light, Wu Sidwa switched martial souls. White hair sprang up into existence and covered her body in a blanket of fur, a golden aura swallowing up her form. Her muscles expanded, the sinewed shape of her limbs impressive to eye. Instead of breaking out into a dash, she used her body's newfound strength to gradually pull free from the tornado. However, she soon found herself obstructed by earth walls. The walls hardly put up a fight, crumbling to fine dust with a single punch. But in the time it took her to shatter one, the tornado would have snuck up to obscure her vision. She couldn't maintain a straight path as she tried to escape. Fleeing from these obstacles' clutches was just out of her reach. Wu Sidwa's expression turned sour. Although she was an agility-type soul master first and foremost, she favored direct confrontations. Winning her battles through brute force brought her all sorts of satisfaction. It pained her to endure such a muddled battlefield where she couldn't even locate her opponent. She was confident that if she could use Hell White Tiger, she could break free. Out of caution for that skill, Gu must have maintained a large distance between them. That said, Wu Sidwa held complete faith in her fusion soul skill, just a few seconds of it and she'd instantly get the upper hand. But as the seconds ticked by, the wind grew more turbulent, thrashing and tearing through the surroundings. The storm swelled in its excitement. All the while, Guu funneled external elemental energy into the storm using elemental tide, building upon its power. A silver flash, and Guu appeared at Tang Wulin's side, face dusted with pallor. "Let's run. I can't control it any longer." There was a limit to how much elemental energy she could manage with elemental tide, and if left unchecked, it would rampage and explode. Since her opponent was Wu Sidwa, she didn't dare hold back. Now, the result was an unstable elemental storm on the verge of erupting. There was no need to consider Wu Sidwa anymore. Guu's elemental tide condensed the elemental energy to a level far beyond both her control and soul rings. Wu Sidwa's tragic fate was sealed. The four teammates turned tail and bolted. Though pale, Guu managed a satisfied smile. She had succeeded. The battle may not have gone as she had initially intended and Wu Sidwa may not have been at her peak, but she still won. In a one-on-one battle, she stood the victor. Through their escape, the world bent and distorted. A beam of light shined down on them, warping and rippling as the wave-like particles hit skin. A moment later, they found themselves in darkness and utterly stupefied. After a while, they recovered their grip on reality. The doors to their cabin slid open and the four stepped out into the initial wide room. The emergence of Tang Wulin's team had brought out a wave of silence. Nearly 100 pairs of eyes surveyed the new arrivers. Several of those gazes dripped with complex emotions, unreadable. One of them belonged to the stoic Yang Mianxia. His brows were knitted as he studied Tang Wulin. After being eliminated, he watched the rest of the competition through the viewing screens. All sorts of emotions warred within his heart, melding together into a puzzling mess. All he could manage at present was a bitter smile. Of the 5 geniuses of the first grade, Luo Guixing seemed the least touched by excitement. He sat in a corner of the room, knees held close to his chest and eyes staring off into nothingness. Though it was evident his mind roamed far away in thought. Tang Wulin's feats caused Jade Snake Jing'eran to regard him in a newfound light. Although her attention mostly remained on him, occasionally a scornful glare or two flickered over to Guu. On the other hand, Xu Yuqing was just as pale as usual. He fought hard to suppress the twitching in his hands, the stare he threw over at Tang Wulin cold enough to freeze. Losing to Tang Wulin had been disgraceful. No matter what a monstrous variant his opponent's martial soul was, in the end he was still a 2-ringed soul grandmaster. As a soul ancestor, Xu Yuqing had no excuse for losing. Last but surely not least was Wu Sidwa. Her face was twisted into a rage, an ugly flush painting her cheeks and the sides of her neck. She had exited the cabin before Tang Wulin's team and stared daggers at Guu as she walked past, teeth gritted so hard it was a wonder they didn't crack. Everyone's eyes were on the four, though it was safe to say they concentrated on Tang Wulin and Guu especially. It was of no consequence what sort of devious strategies and tactics they had drawn up. What mattered most was that they had defeated immortal Xu Yuqing and Hell Wu Sidwa in one-on-one combat. The two were both 4-ringed soul masters widely accepted as the strongest in their grade. But Tang Wulin and Guu had 2 and 3 rings respectively. The difference in strength between the 4 of you is clear, so there was no need for the competition to continue any longer, said Shen Yi, who was standing next to Wu Zhongkong. Tang Wulin and Guu, you two are on the same team, so choose who will be the class president and the vice presidents. Unlike Tang Wulin, Guu immediately took a step back, a clear sign of her opinion. Tang Wulin turned to look at her, only to be met with a sweet smile. He didn't bother trying to decline modestly. Sometimes, one just had to accept the responsibility. Shen Yi nodded, then directed her attention to Xie Xie and Xu Xiaoyan. Normally, we only take into consideration who's left standing at the end. Although you two showed remarkable power, it isn't enough. You both survived, so you have 2 choices: insist on your candidacy for vice president, or step back. Let me remind you that there's a reselection for class representatives once every term, and strength will always be the decider. I'll give up, Xu Xiaoyan instantly said. She had a clear understanding of her abilities. To further drive in her resignation, she walked into the crowd to join the spectators, finding her position at Luo Guixing's side. The corner of Xie Xie's mouth twitched as he watched her leave. That girl's acting is the real deal. I give up too. Although he hesitated for a moment, Xie Xie resolved himself. But I'm sure that I'll one day be able to be a challenger for president or vice president. An eerie calm settled upon him, his demeanor unlike his normal jittery one. On the battlefield, he had gained a deeper comprehension of his position. Each time an opponent stronger than him appeared, it stimulated him to improve faster. Shen Yi regarded them calmly. So you both choose the second option. Since the two of you lasted until the end and chose to give up on being the vice presidents, you will be rewarded with 2,000 contribution points to distribute among you two. As for filling the remaining vice president seat, Wu Sidua, would you like to take the position? Wu Sidua glanced at Ji Yu, then Tang Wulin. She drew a deep breath. I'll do it. Shen Yi smiled. Good. Then everything is settled. The class president is Tang Wulin, and the two vice presidents are Ji Yu and Wu Sidua. This was the best scenario she could have hoped for. While Xie Xie was by no means weak, he couldn't compare with Wu Sidua. If not a single one of the 5 genius rankers held a position as a class representative, the entire class would be stricken with restlessness. With Wu Sidua, the strongest of the rankers, as a vice president, the rest would be too intimidated to throw a big fuss. At the very least, discontent would be curbed. We'll hold competitions for the remaining 3 representative positions accordingly. The blacksmith's representative is already settled, with Tang Wulin being both class president and the blacksmith representative, so this leaves the mecha designers, makers, and mechanics. Now, would all designers, makers, and mechanics rank 2 and above come sign up to compete? Tang Wulin listened, his body language the picture of tranquility. He occupied 2 of the 7 representative positions. He had a firm standing in the class now. Besides that, he obtained a deeper understanding of his classmates thanks to the battle for presidency. Ji Yu left his side and walked over to sign up. She's trying to be the designer representative? Not a beat later, Wu Sidua, Luo Guixing, and Xu Yucheng also went to register. As members of the Genius Youths ranking, they were both strong and skilled in their professions. Only Yang Nianxia remained still as he directed an awkward smile at Tang Wulin. Junior brother, you really know how to act low-key. Tang Wulin smiled. I was just lucky. If Xu Yucheng hadn't been so exhausted, I don't think I could have won. Yang Nianxia shook his head. You can't be so sure about that. Anyone who isn't signing up for the profession competitions can leave now. Class is over. Meet back here for class tomorrow, Shen Yi announced. A chuckle escaped Yang Nianxia's lips. Let's go then, oh great class president. Take good care of me in the future. Tang Wulin smiled wryly. Let's look after each other. Tang Wulin understood how important it was to obtain the approval of his classmates as class president, but it was a gradual process, one more in tune with coaxing than force. He would take things slowly for now. While the rest of the class filtered out of the room, Tang Wulin's eyes glimmered with doubt as they settled upon Wu Zhongkong, who had been silent throughout the assembly. However, Wu Zhongkong did not so much as twitch his fingers. What's going on, Teacher Wu? You haven't taught us once since we got here. It didn't make any sense to Tang Wulin, but he swallowed it up anyway, leaving quietly with Xie Xie and Xu Xiaoyan. After stepping foot into the hall, Xie Xie broke into an immediate dash for his dorm. He was eager to reflect upon what he had learned today, on the verge of making a breakthrough. Xu Xiaoyan was the picture of uncertainty. Captain, do you think I can thrive at Shrek? Everyone's so amazing here. Although she had lasted to the end of the competition, it was due in large part to her cleverness. She had hidden herself in Luo Guixing's team, then later reunited with her true teammates. It was only under their wing that she had lasted so long. As such, she understood well just how weak she was, especially during the day. Tang Wulin responded with a reassuring smile. Don't underestimate yourself. You know, when my martial soul first awakened, it was just blue-silver grass. But I never gave up and moved forward step by step. And now, I've come all this way. You can do the same. Besides, your martial soul is an amazing variant. I'm confident once your soul rank is higher, you'll be able to show off its true power. With your battlefield awareness and an improved martial soul, who knows how brightly you can shine? Xu Xiaoyong glowed. Yeah. You're right. I have to do my best and become stronger. Tang Wulin couldn't help but laugh. It's good to see you don't lose confidence in yourself that easily. Her previously troubled expression was nowhere to be found. If her second profession was being an actor, then she'd be the class representative for that, no doubt. When they arrived at their dorm room, they found Xie Xie already meditating. Tang Wulin joined him without skipping a beat. Lunch was approaching, but he couldn't let even a second go to waste. By lunchtime, the class representatives for the first grade were settled. Gu became the designer representative, holding two positions like Tang Wulin. He found out later from Yang Nianxia that she was a fourth-rank designer. She had never bothered to tell him. Numerous people chose to walk the path of a mecha designer, yet she had managed to beat everyone else in their class. It was clear how skilled she was. The maker seat went to Luo Guixing, who was at the peak of the third rank. That wasn't to say he had no competition. Xu Yuqing fought fiercely with him for that position, to the point where Lu Guixing had almost lost. Despite what her beauty suggested, Wu Sidwa was actually a skilled mechanic. She took the crown of mechanic representative. Mechanics weren't to be looked down upon. They had to be well-versed in both the design and making process. It was practically a hybrid profession. Although a mechanic would never reach the pinnacle in both fields, they had to know enough to synthesize the two sides to repair damaged mechas. At the 6th rank, mecha mechanics would be skilled enough to repair battle armors. They were talents that took a long time to blossom. Moreover, because fewer people chose to become mechanics, skilled mechanics were in higher demand than skilled designers or makers. The number of people who chose this path was only a step above of blacksmiths. The amount of knowledge required scared most hopefuls away. Although all 7 representative positions were occupied, there were only 4 representatives: class president and forging representative Tang Wulin, vice president and designer representative Gu, vice president and mechanic representative Wu Sidwa, and lastly, maker representative Luo Guixing. By chance, Tang Wulin had overheard during lunch the situation was similar in the other grades. Those who had managed to become the president or vice president were usually superb in their professions, and more often than not, held multiple positions. There had even been a genius who was the designer, maker, and mechanic representative, as well as vice president. They eventually entered the inner court, so now only the academy knew the height of their abilities. With this matter settled, classes went into full swing. Tang Wulin forewent stepping foot into the Blacksmiths Association in the afternoon. He didn't lack in contribution points for now, and he had more than enough to feed himself. His current priority was to improve his cultivation and obtain his 3rd soul ring. And once he accomplished this, he would attempt to spirit refine once more. Improving his soul rank was crucial due to the imbalance between his soul rank and blacksmith rank. There were no shortcuts to increasing one's soul power. All he could do was ceaselessly cultivate and slowly grow. Xu Xiaoyan followed his lead and jumped into meditation. She was a step away from breaching rank 30 and obtaining her 3rd soul ring. She trembled with excitement thinking of what new soul skill she would get her hands on, not to mention her 2nd spirit soul. However, as they meditated in peace, an uninvited guest appeared at a different corner of the working student dormitory. "So I'm gonna live here from now on." Yu Zhengyu plopped down onto the bed opposite of Yuanen's. Almost immediately, Yuanen scowled. "This is my room. Get out." Yu Zhengyu sneered. "Yours? This is the academy's, not yours. The academy assigned me to this room, so we're roommates now. We're both 2nd grade students, you know. Or are you afraid I'll discover your secret?" "No. I just really hate you," Yuanen bit out. Yu Jingyu had just joined the 2nd grade and had already been kicking up a fuss all day in class. If not for his lack of experience, he probably would have challenged the class president for their position. Unfortunately for him, the second grade's class president was none other than Yuenan, a highly respected working student. Yuenan rose and made for the door. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.